Hi everyone, welcome back. We are going to continue in Module 2, Topic 2, Lesson 1. We're continuing in Activity 2. It's on page 263. We're also going to do Activity 3 in this video. Okay, so it says number 7 here. Label each mark on the number line with a fraction, decimal, and percent. Write each fraction in lowest terms. So the first one they have pretty much done for us for the fraction. So we have a number line. It's broken up here into 3 different tick marks, 3 parts. We have 0, 1/3, a blank, and 1. So this one is 2/3. And then what does each of those represent as a decimal? Again, this one they've done a lot of it for us. The whole number 1 is still 1.0. 2/3. So if you divide 2 divided by 3, you end up with 0.6 repeating. 1/3. When you do 1 divided by 3, you end up with 0.3 repeating. And then as a percent, this ends up being 33 1/3%. If you think about this as 0.3, 3, 3, and so on, if you move the decimal point over 2 places, it gives us the 33. So then when we have 6/10 repeating for our decimal for 2/3, and we multiply that by 100, we end up with 66. So if we have 1/3 and another 1/3, we're going to just double that. So we have 66 and, I'm going to write it as a fraction, 2/3%. You could do 66.7%, 33.3 repeating percent, or here you could even do the 0.6 repeating. Okay, letter B. So our number line is broken up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tick marks. So it's broken up into eighths, which they have 7/8 here. So if we just work backwards from the 7/8, we have 6/8, 5/8, 1/2, which is the equivalent of 4/8, so we can think about it like that. 3/8, 2/8, and 1/8. And then the decimal equivalent, 1/8 they've done for us. 2/8 is the same as 1/4, so we know that's 0.25 as a decimal. 3/8, so if on a calculator you do 3 divided by 8, which we are going to be doing in class, everybody will have a calculator for this unit. Just trying to pull mine up here for you. Actually, that was what we did last time I had the calculator up. So it was 3 divided by 8, which is 0.375. 4/8 is 1/2, so we know that's 0.5. 5/8, 0.625, 6/8, 0.75, 7/8. Again, we could just divide it. We could do 7 divided by 8, gives us 0.875. Again, I'm not real picky if you put those leading zeros or not. Okay, 0.875. And then the percent that breaks out into, 4/8 or 1/2 is easy. That's 50%. So for the 1/8, we have 0.125. Remember, we're going to multiply by 100, so it moves the decimal point over 2 places. So we have 12.5%, which actually makes sense because 1/8 is halfway between 0 and 2/8. 2/8 is 25%. Halfway between 0 and 25% is 12.5%. So that makes sense. Moving the decimal 2 places for 5/8, 62.5%. 6/8, because remember, that's equivalent to 2, 3, 4. So 75 hundredths is 75%. And then 7/8 is 87.5%, or 87 and 5/10%. Excellent. Okay, moving on. This one looks like it's broken up into tenths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Indeed it is. So we have 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, which is the same as 2/5, 5/10, which is the same as 1/2, 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10. We do have some equivalents on some others of these, and we'll get to those in a moment. So 1/10 as a decimal is 1/10. These are pretty easy when written in tenths for the decimal. 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10, and then 1 whole. Okay, so the percent. So if you get a 1 out of 10 on a test, you get a 10%. Again, if you move the decimal point over 2 places or multiply by 100, goes 1, 2, we'd have to insert a 0. So 10%, you probably already have this one done. 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%, 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%, 100%. The 2/5 has an equivalent of, 2/10 has an equivalent of 1/5. And then 6/10, we can divide those both by 2. We would get 3/5 as an equivalent there. 8/10, we can divide those both by 2. We would get 4/5. So 6/10 is to 3/5, 8/10, 4/5. All right, turning the page. Reasoning with ratios, habits of mind, reason abstractly and quantitatively, construct viable arguments, and critique the reasoning of others. On Saturday, Melanie won 3 out of 4 of her tennis matches at the Redstone tournament. On Sunday, she won 1 out of 4 of her matches at the Mesa tennis tournament. Each student summarized Melanie's record over the weekend. So Patrick, we have a thumbs down on him. He says Melanie won 100% of her matches. Laura, we have a thumbs up. She says she won 50%. And Jonathan, we have a thumbs up. He said she won 4 out of 8 of the matches played. Okay, so then it asks what is wrong with Patrick's reasoning. And then it's asking what is the same about Laura and Jonathan's, what is different. Remember, you can write part to part and part to whole ratios in fractional form and colon notation. Labeling ratios with units is important. Okay, so let's go back here. I want you to actually pause for a moment and take a look at Patrick's and see if you can figure out what is wrong with his reasoning. Okay, so with Patrick's reasoning, he says Melanie won 100% of her matches. He says 3/4 plus 1/4 equals 4/4, which means 1 whole, so it's 100%. This 3/4 here, although they look like fractions, remember they're just in fractional form. It's still a ratio. So this is a part to whole ratio for each day. So this is her Saturday matches plus her Sunday matches of the 1/4. So he added the numerators using 4 as a common denominator. But by his reasoning, he's saying she only had 4 matches, but she didn't. She had 4 matches on Saturday and she had 4 matches on Sunday. So she should have had a total of 8 matches. So what's wrong with his reasoning? Each match, let's say each event, because they're sets of matches. So each event had 4 matches. the denominator represents my calculator phone, the number of matches at each separate event. His reasoning shows 4 games, but she played 8. Okay, so then what is the same about Laura and Jonathan's, and then what is different? So what is the same? So for the same, they both determined so let's see. She says Melanie won 50%, 3 matches, 1 out of 4 matches played on Saturday, plus 1 match won out of 4 matches played on Sunday, equals 4 matches won out of 8 total matches played. Her labeling really helps, and right here it told us that labeling ratios with units is important. She wrote it in fractional form. Jonathan, he said Melanie won 4 out of 8 matches played. 3 matches won to 4 matches played on Saturday. So he did the same thing here. He just wrote it in colon notation. 1 match won to 4 matches played on Sunday for a total of 4 matches won to 8 matches played. So they both determined the total number of matches won out of matches played. It's really total matches played. Should really squeeze that in there. And then how are they different? Laura used fractional form. Jonathan used colon notation. And that's how they're different. Okay, and like always, if you have any questions, please be sure to reach out.